Hi, Jace here, and I'm still working on this track, still working on that string line. This is a track that's called Hope, and I kind of want to share something very intimate with you here about this whole thing and the practice of making music. I'll preface what I'm going to say with I think sometimes musicians like to give off an impression, or they don't like to admit to these kinds of things that they struggle with something, or they might have to rewrite something a lot of different ways because I think maybe people want to be perceived as a ninth degree black belt at what they do or whatever else. I'll be the first one to readily admit that this is nothing is perfect, and a lot of things sometimes can be challenging, and this track has been challenging me in one particular place. And I'm going to show you how I overcame that today by getting to the truth. Okay? Just ripping the band aid off and getting straight to the part. But it's not going to work if I really don't play the whole part up to that so that you can get a real taste of this. So here we go. Okay? Let me make sure I have it set up right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Here's what I'm talking about. I have spent probably 4 sessions worth of time, spaced out over the past 5 days, rewriting that track again, the strings, again and again. Now I've tried it with a multiple section like you just heard, ensemble patches. I've used divisi sections of divided strings, and really then I went down to solo instruments and tried to voice it that way. And I wasn't feeling satisfied. And before I tore into this one more time to try, what I did is I hit the pause button and I came back here and took a close look at this again. You'll see me coming back to this more often, but this is what happens when I lose track, okay, of what something's about. And this is what this track's about. It's about hope, and it's about, there's a struggle taking place here. Hope versus depression and anxiety and those kinds of things. And it's a very fragile thing. That is a very fragile line, and only the people who are going through it can truly understand it. And I think that's every last one of us. But if you've ever been in a situation where you're feeling fragile, you know exactly what that means. And I didn't realize it, but so what I did is I copied this over. This is basically the main melody twice, and I put it here. Here. Does it work? Yes, it works. Is it okay? Sure, it's okay. I could leave that like that, mix and master that, spruce it up a little bit in exactly the right places, and it's perfectly passable. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things happening at once in the string line there. And anything else is just additions, additions, additions. Watch what happens when I take the piano track and I boost it up 1 octave and I switch to string harmonics. This is basically as simplistic as it gets. A violin harmonic is when the violinist is playing in the utmost range of the instrument, and it sounds like a very glassy kind of a whistling thing, and it becomes very transparent. Let me roll out of this one more time just for the sake of it, so that you have, I know I'm doing a lot of talking here, but it's for a reason, so bear with me. One more time, just so you have it. Okay. Now, boosting the piano up 1 octave and switching to a string harmonic. Let me back out of it. Not yet. At bar 37. This is kind of an example of where simplicity takes the cake, and it really just goes to show. So for me, I'm hitting my purpose there on that part now. I really do. I think I've captured the fragility of a moment in time. You know, the kind of moments that we don't share with people, the kind of things that we don't say. Hey, how's it going with you today? You know, hey, I'm doing great. In the meanwhile, every one of us has our own internal struggle going on. And sometimes when it gets to the point where it really overwhelms you, that's when things can get fragile. And this isn't about negativity. This is about hope. This is about dealing with things. This is about being in a moment, in a space, and being vulnerable to that space and taking in what is happening around you. You know, and it's funny because I sit here and I think to myself, no, I rewrote that so many different times in so many different ways. And the message here and the lesson is learned is in the future is when that starts to happen, and I caught on to it pretty quickly this time. Actually, I had put a track down and walked away from it for 2 months for these very same reasons. To be able to recognize that, okay, wait a minute. Let's go back to the blueprint for a minute here. Let's go back to what we know this track is trying to do. Yes. Hooray! It's a victory. Okay, well, everybody have a good day. Thanks for your time.